What's going on, YouTube? This is Alex back here. I just wanted to show you, well, actually not really show you because it's dark and there's not much to show you, but this is my 2024 Chevrolet Silverado 2500 HD Duramax with the Allison. For those of you who don't know, I had a 2022 Chevrolet 2500 HD that was the 6.6 liter gas and the 6L90 6-speed, and I bought that truck new. I had 33,000 miles on it. It was a good truck. I loved it. I loved the relatively low maintenance factor of the gas. I did not love the transmission at all, especially not compared to this transmission. This transmission is as perfect as any modern automatic that I've ever driven. I'm gonna go ahead and throw that out there. The truck has 3,121 miles. I bought this off Gary Ellison at Midstate Chevrolet in Flatwoods, West Virginia, off I-79. They made me a great deal, I felt like, on switching my red hot gas to my red hot Duramax. I was really happy with the deal. They transported this truck up from Hazard, Kentucky, from Tim Short Chevrolet. They did a dealer trade so they could get me a red hot one because I like red and I wanted the red. And since then I've got the windows tinted, the brow, and I've just driven it. So my initial thoughts, because obviously, so it had 538 miles when I picked it up, so I've put 2,600 on it roughly. Since I've had it, I changed the oil at roughly 1,000 miles. It's written in the book somewhere, but I did change the oil just because I kind of like to dump that initial first round out after they get some of the break-in process done. I'll dump it again here soon because the meter's probably sitting somewhere, I would guesstimate, around 60%, 59%. 2,000 miles has knocked it down 40%, so it must be accounting for some idle time. Fuel filter life, 80%, and 3,000 miles. Def range is showing 2,300 miles on that. I've put one 2.5 gallon jug in because it was relatively low when I got it, and that is it. I don't see why people make def out to be a big deal. So far, no issues. Really, there's just not. It's done a bazillion short trips. It's done a few, well, like 2 or 3 longer 30-mile plus trips. And it's done excellent. I think it's been just enough to kind of tell if it's gonna give any major issues. I did get this one, power folding mirrors, the bed liner, and the prep package. That was a big thing I wanted, but I'm gonna make a walk around video and go through everything. I just figured I'd touch base here and let everybody know that so far it's getting better fuel mileage than what my gasoline truck was getting. It's way easier coming off the mountain that I live on, having the exhaust brake. Screen's an inch smaller. It's a 7-inch screen on the Custom. My last truck was an LT with dual climate control. I hated the dual climate control with a passion because I got one hand here. So this hand, it's super easy when I'm driving up the road to fan on, fan off, hot, cold, super easy for me. The dual climate took roughly 6 circles. That's just a personal preference, and that's just to do with the Custom. That's nothing to do with the Duramax. I did have controls here on the LT that I don't on this one. Haven't missed it a bit. I have wireless Apple CarPlay on this, which I didn't have on my other one. So it's just as simple as when I'm on the phone, I just press that and tell it what I want to do instead of pressing the button here. No volume controls on the back of the wheel. Not a big deal. Didn't use them anyways. You know, I might occasionally, but I love the Custom package. I feel like it's the best bang for your buck package because you get a decent looking truck that's very aesthetically pleasing. inside and out, really. Yeah, it's very simple inside. There's no leather stitching, which is good. It's easier to clean. I'd got the stitching wet on the other truck, and it started to expand and Yeah, I don't know, but black door handles, no preference there. I had a boo-boo on this door and that fender already. I'll show that as well, but there's gonna have to be some body work done there. I know that's disappointing on a new truck, but I do intend to keep this one. I was totally happy with everything on my other truck, except I didn't like the dual climate. I despised that 6-speed transmission, and when you'd go down a hill and you'd set your foot on the brake and it would think it needed to drop 3 gears, it would slide the back wheels downshifting unloaded because of the mountain I live on. Not in tow haul, not in low, just in drive. You had to put it in low and manually upshift it every time you came off a hill, or it would kick down through gears. And then the second back to first downshift was horrible in that truck. Now I know I could have bought a 24 with the Allison 10-speed and the 6.6 liter gas, but it was going to cost me a certain amount of money to jump up to a 2-year newer truck, from a 22 to a 24. It was going to cost me a certain amount. And while I was already spending that, I just wanted to go ahead and get the diesel. After being around some diesel trucks all summer, I can live with the emission system. If it gives me an issue, it gives me an issue. Once I figure out that everything's going to be solid, I'll probably make that emission system more reliable. So if anybody follows there, but in the meantime, we'll work with it. It is well worth it for the extra pulling power. It's a 10% grade for 3 miles from this town that I live in up to my house. And it worked that 6.6 gas engine hard with some of the loads that I pull. This one does it with ease. I mean, I could at any given time with the heaviest loads step into the throttle and gain speed. So, but that's just my initial thoughts. I know I'm in the cab here and not a lot, but fuel running around here, I'm getting like 11.5. Out on a trip, I've seen 19. I know that's a big variation, but I mean, that's just what I've seen. So, and that's, like I say, when I've done a 30-mile each way trips to 60 miles, I've averaged 19. When I've done these short 5-mile trips sitting idle, 11.5. But I did 6.5 in the other truck, and that's not a joke. Over the whole lifetime, that truck had averaged like 10. This one, lifetime average so far, even with tons of idle time, is 11.5. Yes, fuel's higher, but people don't count for the higher horsepower and such as well, the greater power. Not only is there that, but the oil changes, guys. The 6.6 gas holds 8 quarts. This holds 10. They use the same PF63 oil filter. If you do your own maintenance, oil changes are not any more expensive. Yeah, it's got a $50 fuel filter under it that I'll pop in every 15,000 miles. The book says 22,500. So if you follow that spec, realistically, if you keep a truck in the warranty period, you'll buy 5 fuel filters for it. You know, big deal. $250 in fuel filters for nearly 1,000 foot-pounds of torque. Yes, I understand the emission systems can be troublesome. They definitely do shorten the life of these engines. You know, I said when I bought the last truck I'd never trade it in, that I'd keep it for as long as it would last. And I was very frustrated with that transmission kind of right off the bat. I have no complaints about this truck, guys. There's just not. I mean, there's not anything about it that I'm not satisfied with. 3,000 miles and almost 3 months in, and 2 months in, I'm sorry, 2 months in. And I had the other one 2 years. 2 years was enough to know what I needed to know. I was satisfied with everything but the drivetrain. I am 100% satisfied with this as long as it holds out and doesn't give me a bunch of little issues. But time will tell. I'll keep you updated, and I will do a walk around here. Oh, this rides better too. It's a Z71. I like the Rancho shocks, but with the heavier engine in the front, if you do happen to catch a pothole or something in town, it just floats through them, where the other one would jar your brains out. So, not that that matters. It's an HD truck, I get that, and it spends most of its life hooked to a trailer anyways, but, you know, hauling my projects around and just some other stuff. But same interior pretty much, just the wheel's different. Final wheel doesn't get as shiny as quick, which is fine by me. Like I say, I like it. I like the custom trim. But just wanted to update you. certainly appreciate anybody who does watch and maybe get some information out of it down the road. We'll make a video of doing the oil change here in the next few days because I've got the stuff at the house for the second change. So you all have a good night.